Rob, welcome to the impact of AI. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Great. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. My name is Rob Fawcett. I have two companies. One's called the Human CTO, which is me, my consultancy standpoint. Within that, I specialize in fractional CTO elements, majority specializing in AI, governance, assurance, compliance, adoption, and deployment. We also have another business called Quantis, which is a software development company that specializes in AI builds. So we build small, large language models, voice analytic tools with direct speech for the language models to feed off, and all the data management that feeds into them. That's me.
So if I say the words AI, governance, and compliance, most people, it's not the most sexiest topic, but it's a very important topic. And our guest this episode looks at that kind of gap between organizations and what they're doing and what they should be doing in a wider audience every week. And this is what Rob, our guest, does. So Rob, you've been a CTO, you've worked inside regulatory environments, you now sit on the other side helping organizations work what they do before the regulator turns up. What's your kind of honest version about when you walk into a company and look at their AI governance? What are you actually seeing?
How do you start with this one? Similar to how I started on stage when we met. The first thing you see is that people go to sleep when you start talking about it, because it's not the sexiest element of any work or business environment, is it, if we're being honest? No. When someone talks in and starts talking about governance, compliance, assurance, it's really hard to carry the room at that point. So you've got to have your jokes in your back pocket constantly. Having a Scouse accent helps, carries me through awkward bits. I just tend to start speaking a little bit faster, and most people can't understand what I say at that point, so that makes it easier. But when we walk in to organizations now, and some of the key things we're seeing is no one knows what to do because they think, because it's got the word AI in front of it, it's brand new, and the wheels just fall off. So there's organizations that are spinning up their own teams. They are getting heavy external input, tends to be from some of the, the big six, which is now the big four. And they're just trying to reinvent the wheel because they don't know where to turn. They forget their own skills, their own resources, their own teams, the people that have done this for years, just not with the words AI in front of it.
Yeah. Me and Gurjan have talked about this before. If you think about the whole open claw thing, people just lost their minds and forgot like IT security, not sharing passwords, API keys, credit card information. They were like, had such AI FOMO, they just like went full in on this, yet did not realize that this thing is signaling on the internet that, hello, I'm here and you can access me and do what you want.
Oh, that's your sort code, is it? I love that. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. But this
sharing is caring. Yeah,
exactly. Sharing is caring. But this is I think the exact thing you're talking about, Rob, is just because we have this word AI, it doesn't mean that like the 30 years of IT policy, regulation, all of that goes out the window just because we're racing to some point which doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
So I think that's the crazy part I see.
It is. And, it's AI, so everyone's leaning into the tech and data departments, as they should. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But they're forgetting what else they've got in the organization. They've got DPOs, they've got GDPR consultants, they've got governance folk that have been doing internal ISO 9001 audits inside your organization forever. And they all think in the way that simply this is all it needs. It doesn't need something brand new. Just follow what's there within the teams. So my job from that standpoint, 5 minutes into the conversation, people start waking back up then because the fear's gone instantly. They don't think I'm coming in here to try and hook them with a fish hook around the mouth and try and steal a wallet behind the toes to be able to do this. So straight away they're starting to think, oh, okay, it's not that scary. We've got people that can help with this. As one one of the execs are probably thinking, I don't really want to talk to this governance guy, but I know what senior leader I can go rope in and he can talk to Rob instead. That'll be good. I can get out this meeting quick. So, yeah, that tends to be what we're seeing more and more.
Yeah. And Gurjan, are you having a similar experience with customers you're interacting with?
Yeah, it's the scary part is they have to do something with AI and they're really scared business-wise to open up the floodgates and getting started with it. And there's all sorts of compliance teams putting everything in the way of starting. But it's, as you said, Rob, well, it's sometimes it feels we are introducing a new type of software into the organization and everybody's freaking out. But we have been introducing new things in IT for 20 years. And they all found their way. So being scared is not the solution. But that's what I see also, that they are very scared at the beginning about, okay, this is going to do what with my information? And on the other hand, you have the guys and girls who install OpenClaw because it just helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything in between. So it's a really fun playground.
So when it comes to legislation, Rob, obviously there's the EU AI Act, and I think in the UK you're still waiting on the UK AI Act. But I think from what I've heard you say is organizations shouldn't be waiting on the UK AI Act because the EU one is pretty much the standard. And if you're in Europe, which you know, whatever your political leanings are, UK is still in Europe. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the EU AI Act, it's been in place. There's 80 odd days until they're going to start hammering people in terms of their policies, processes, procedures, probably fines. There's already a couple that have creeped out over Europe at this point in time. But the King's speech is tomorrow. Within that, it's highly thought that he's going to be presenting the UK AI Act bill. That will take 3 to 6 months to wheel its way through Parliament for them to be able to knuckle down into exactly what that means and how to enforce it. It's already been written in multiple forms over the last 12 to 18 months. But you'll see towards the end of 2026 it's starting to get legs. All it will do, it will have the UK spin on the EU AI Act. It's going to be something a little bit more specific, probably a bit more heavily weighted towards our public sectors, because they tend to be. It will follow probably a similar theme to how GDPR took place. And I've been saying to people for the last year, everything that's going on now, it's just 2017, 2018 all over again. Just don't forget, you did it then. It's not going to be that scary this time, unless you forget what you've got and your wheels fall off.
Yeah. But you won't have those annoying cookie pop-ups like we had with GDPR in AI.
We'll see. Someone will come up with something mental. Oh, no. There'll be an AI version of cookie acceptance and transparency statements that you've got to agree that you're happy with that business and how they use AI before you. There will be something mental that will kick in and that'll stick. But there's already 5 regulators in the UK at play. So ICO, FCA, CMA, Ofcom, MHRA, they've already got their elements kicking in terms of AI and enforcement around that. There's been, the Data Act came in last year. That's been in play. The Quality Act of 2010, it's been in place for 16 years. And people forget when everything you're talking around in terms of AI biasness now was already written 16 years ago. It's just a reminder that now the systems are going to do it. So there's another tick in the box that you have to do. So, like I said before, none of this is new. It's just got a word in front of it. And people are just panicking on how to do it.
What about when it comes to agentic AI? Because
that's different.
That is different because, we've had discussions with people about who ultimately is responsible for these AI agents and what they're doing. And
vendors.
Really?
The problem is, as soon as you start stepping into agentic, You've got agents talking to agents, making decisions between the two. They'll be coming off some sort of bounds in some way, shape, or form. Vendors maintain and control bounds typically, unless it's a agent that's been built in house. Everything that people are talking around AI now, they're all thinking Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, OpenClaw, all these specific AI applications or products that are sitting out there. They're forgetting for the last year, Workday, ATS systems, Sage, all these organizations have been creeping bits of AI out in their applications. Some you have a choice to accept, some you don't. And you don't control what that does when it talks to another system. It controls it. So the vendors control it. Are they there in terms of presenting this in like document formats or explaining, if Workday talks to Sage, we're going to transfer this information? Yeah, sure. They're probably disclosing all that. However, do they fully, do they even know what type of transactions will take place when it comes to some open text or open language? Probably not, because it's probably not said that way yet. So agentic is going to be different, because there's one simple thing that's not there. There's no human in the loop. You have a conversation with ChatGPT, it feeds back what you want, you decide what to do. You do the same with all the others. You decide what to do, you make that call. Even if you build an agentic system in some way, shape, or form, you can at least build human in the loop. So if you jump onto Foundry or Copilot Studio and you hook a couple of them together, you can put the stage gates in, to which it goes, present that information before deciding what to do, moving on. As agentic gets bigger and bigger, there's no human in the loop anymore. So there's it's going to be interesting. It's going to come from, my personal view is, it will start reaching into your data classification, your tiers, elements of what data that agentic workflow is allowed to touch and what to do with it. That's where the controls probably need to
You're just giving me flashbacks, because I implemented a data classification system for a large organization in Ireland a long time ago, and it's like, oh no, not that stuff.
It is. It's going to be that. But the joy is, if you're Microsoft Stack, you're halfway there. Fabric's doing this for you automatically.
Yeah.
Having the ability to classify your data tiers and have the ability to go, well, I'm not having agentic systems talk to that level, but I will have them talk to this level.
So it's like, payroll not allowed, whatever personal details in HR systems not allowed, internal newsletters, documents allowed, type thing.
Yeah. And what you'll probably start seeing more and more, anonymization agents, local ones, even software. So, my background, I've got two companies. Our software company, we're developing quite heavily, and we're not, loads are, developing the ability for the client side part of the applications to do the anonymization before that gets submitted to the models. You're going to see that more and more. Because
so you can choose the specific data that you anonymize before it goes to. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah,
I like
do it
that.
locally before it gets posted away. Because that way, it's starting to remove this. All my staff are posting everything on the operational floor into their own personal ChatGPT, and I'm losing control of my world.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop that. But this way, you're starting to equip them with the tools to be able to still do what they want to do, but safely.
Yeah, and we talked about that before, and it's how where I work as well. It's very much a guideline based approach. It's not like you can't do this, you can't use AI. It's like that ship has sailed, like everyone's using it, so you can't do that draconian nonsense, because it just doesn't work. You have to advise and educate people about the correct way to utilize it. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where I see it as well. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think agentic is going to be a whole minefield of legality stuff when something goes well. We've already seen things go horribly wrong at various different vendors. Where agentic AI, there's a pretty big, begins with an A, ends with an N. They had a very large thing where a AI agent went and deleted a production database. They lost over $6 million because of it. So, and they've now rolled back, and they have a review process. So this is, the responsibility for this agents, because I know you're saying it goes down to the vendors, but if you're doing agentic things internally and you're controlling these agents, because that apparently is going to become a whole role that people are just controlling agents, are you then responsible person from a legal standpoint? I think that's...
I think it's never going to be able to drop lower than the business. The business is going to be responsible. We're in a world now where the individuals can no longer be. Go back to the GDPR days. It was the DPO, or it was the CIO, or it was just chief exec. They were the ultimate responsibility if they didn't have legal counsel in-house. If they outsourced, it was their law firm that they used. I don't think they're going to be able to play with that anymore because it moves so fast, so quick. No individuals can be expected to be able to stay on top of this with the vast amount that's creeping out through all different types of software and environments right now. I mean, when it comes to the agentic and the governance side, the biggest gains are in the worlds of healthcare and pharmaceutical. They also come with the biggest risks. The pre-described decision-making in them worlds can be amazing for diagnostics, presenting back to the healthcare professional. However, if that's allowed to then treat, or if the healthcare professional blindly accepts and treats, I think that's the stuff that's going to be in the news over the next couple of years, because it's bound to happen. Just human nature. If something's telling you the answer constantly, you will just start using it, and that part of your brain will get duller and duller.
And humans get it wrong also, because so the AI makes a mistake, but humans also make mistakes. So
AI told me to do it.
Nothing is flawed. Yeah. The AI said it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah, no, I think the healthcare is going to be a big one because, obviously China is light years ahead of most countries in terms of what they're utilizing AI for. But then they have a whole, we won't get into the geopolitical things about China because that's a whole different podcast. But I'm saying in terms of the technology and the way that they utilize data, and that is very different to how we do it in the Western world, because, there's so many controls around personal data when it comes to healthcare. And that's where the pharma companies would love to get full access to all of this stuff, and said, probably saying they can advance this and this, but then they have access to all that data down to your, genetic level, essentially. So that's kind of, but yeah, I do agree that is kind of an area where we're going to see big things in the news in years to come.
Yeah.
So just to go back a little bit and talk about the kind of looking at organizations. You've kind of described three modes you see in organizations: the policy and forget mode, the waiting mode, and the speed versus compliance tug of war. Can you kind of talk through each of those?
Yeah, sure. So policy and forget mode, it's not new to AI. It's every policy, every business has probably ever had.
Ticking a box,
sign that, whack it on SharePoint, never look at it again, just make my OneDrive bigger and bigger. Oh no, actually, every 6 months L&D kick in. I've got to watch this video on speed 32 to get to the end really quick, and then tick the box.
That sounds like my internal IT security training. I just put on 2x, and I've actually started just looking at turning on the transcribe. It's like tick, done.
Yeah, done, tick. But it's the whole, wrote it, signed it, filed it. These are the things that are having to change, because can you imagine how many of them you'd have to change and how many times you'd have to write it, sign it, file it with the advancement going on? It's at least one a week right now in businesses, never mind outside in the wider world.
Can I have an AI agent do that for me?
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
It's the AI usage policy, and I've just outsourced it to an AI agent because I can't be bothered.
Yeah, virtual Rob signed it for me. Great.
Exactly.
This is where these are the type of elements where culture shift within organizations have to change. They've always had to have changed. They've always had to improve. I've never been in an organization yet that gets this bob on. However, this is now a big opportunity for learning and development departments, compliance departments, governance areas, IT tech, data, all to start coming together and merging and mixing with internal comms to create this new way that businesses keep their staff informed of all the changes taking place. It's the biggest thing within organizations. That many departments, larger ones, stop talking. Can you imagine if there's a new mechanism for all information to be disseminated equally, fairly, at the right time, at the right level? Why not use this as a chance to do it?
Rob, you described 3 modes you see in organizations: the policy and forget mode, the waiting mode, and the speed versus compliance tug of war. Can you kind of talk through each of those?
Sure. Yeah. So policy and forget has been around for years. Everyone does it when they join an organization. Wrote it, signed it, filed it, never looked at it ever again. It's going to be the same because part of the regulations that are coming out is you've got to have so many different AI policies in place within organizations. So your AI policy general, your AI usage policy inside for your internal staff, your AI transparency policy that tells your customers or your clients or your consumers how you use AI within an organization, specifically around their data, their information. So the world's in this place at the minute where there's a rare opportunity to rethink how internal communication takes on within organizations, mixing together learning and development departments, internal comms, policy departments, governance, audit, technology. So there's that's one of the mode that we see on in terms of people just thinking more paperwork, more sign, more never look at it ever again. In terms of the other one, the waiting game. So certain organizations have been really holding off, thinking, okay, well, EU AI Act means X, Y, Z. I'll wait till the UK one comes in because I may not want to invest so much playing with AI, experimenting, going deep within it for the EU AI Act to completely trash what I've done, which has never been the case. And some of the key areas that you have to abide to already are with the regulators that are already enforcing elements of compliance within the UK that I named earlier on in the podcast. And the final one is speed versus compliance. So shipping AI fast.
This is the one we keep hearing about, and I think most organizations are trapped with. They're like FOMO and just the fact that we must move quickly, and compliance is going to slow us down.
Yeah, and compliance 100% slows you down in the beginning. Can't stand speaking to organizations and other consultants similar to me. They go, no, build compliance in from the beginning, and it doesn't slow you starting. And no, in the beginning, it slows you down. Sometimes it stops you dead. However, what's not being explained properly is you get it right and you bake it into your processes. It stops you having to redo, recycle elements down the line when you do go wrong. And even if you don't go wrong, at some point in the future, someone's going to go, that bit of code needs tidying up. Better go look at that tech debt. Or do I? So it's exactly the same process. It's a developer's tech debt world to which they went super fast, getting it done, get it out the door. And then I'll fix that later on. Never does until it falls over. So building it into the process in a way to which you expect it to be delayed and you expect it to challenge your thinking just is the same as any other software development. The product will just be better for it. May not be as quick, may get beaten to the line by someone else that's doing it, but you'll they'll be trodden all over 100 yards past that line later on.
Yeah, so start with the foundation, with the correct governance, with the compliance, and then build it up from there. So slow start, but it will accelerate you in the end because you've done the foundation is correct. And you can build up.
It is, and it's part of what I do is simply translating technology, governance, regulation to human, and translating it, the human people, back to them folk. I seem to have made a living out of it. And long may it be complicated for others because it keeps me in a job. However, all that you get to do is if you're going to build something right and you're going to put AI in a certain way, it has to hook to the purpose you want to achieve. So part of what I'm doing on side, that I'll launch tomorrow, that I will shamelessly plug near the end, is if you think about it, and I'll give away loads, I gave a lot away on stage at the Emirates, is as a business, everyone wants to use AI. Everyone needs to. Everyone thinks they need to. You've got to remember, half of the stuff that they need is just better processes. Okay, forget the data. Data's never perfect for anything, never mind AI. So forget about that. However, processes, the human side of things are. So half of the organizations that, and me and Dan Boyles, we work together, deliver this for organizations. Half of the time we're telling them, don't do that. It's not going to help. It's just going to make your crap process work faster, but you get a prompt now to do it instead. The other half of it is root it in your business strategy, what you're trying to achieve. You have business strategy, and within them strategies, you have outcomes that you want to deliver. Them outcomes, if you deliver all 6 of them, you've done your strategy for the year. However, in them outcomes, what are the problems I have to overcome to get that outcome ticked? Now, them problems, they are the ones where user cases should be looked at. Look at the user case that AI can help to overcome that problem. Therefore, you create that user case. You've already started thinking about the governance and compliance part of it all because it's all rooted back up to where that business is going in the first place. As you start doing it, you then start thinking, right, well, what's the human going to do? Always start at the people, because if you go and start with the architecture, it fails straight away. The architecture stuff is just a cool way of playing with sexy new tools. You start with the people, and you guarantee that whatever you build will land and will use. It may not be sexy. We and Dan done a compass engagement with a global organization a couple of months ago. And the big reveal on the day, their user cases in prioritized way, their top 3, boring as hell. Not sexy, boring. Scratch your head to even work out how AI is in the mix of it. However, that will provide them with the biggest efficiency savings moving forward. And fortunately, that's the other unglamorous side of my head in terms of business.
Yeah, we had a previous guest and he was telling us about this, how they drove adoption was they took the most boring form that had to be done internally. This is a healthcare organization and they automated it with AI, and that drove the adoption levels because the users weren't going, oh, this is going to take my job. No, this is going to take this tedious, annoying form thing. You know, think of the most annoying form you have to fill in, and they got it automated and away from the users. So yeah, I agree completely. Like the use cases are not always going to be start with the boring ones, but as you said, in terms of the efficiency as well. So
yeah. Otherwise, go bake what they're doing now back into a spreadsheet and just whack a macro on top of it. Simple.
Like the olden days.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah. And AI is not needed for everything. Yeah. So, Rob, you talked about the IT function as being one of the most used asset in AI governance. Can you kind of explain what you meant by that?
So, the arse end of last year, the phrase going around is AI is not an IT project. AI is not an IT project. And, you know, if you look at the crux of it, it's not. It's now a
business.
business-wide project. And it tends to originate from operations because they are the ones that tend to be, in most organizations, under the cosh the most. They're dealing with the consumers or the customers. They're at the coal face. They're wishing the tools they had were better. And every organization wants that. But the operation folk are the ones that are wishing that, whilst also working in a department where they've got a headset on or having to pick up the phone or they're in front of clients. So they're getting it from both sides. And so, yes, AI is a business-wide project and it's not the responsibility of IT anymore. However, what I have seen is people moving away from IT departments with AI so horrendously that they're forgetting, yes, it's not an IT project anymore, but these are the people that have been banging projects in like this for the last 20, 30 years. They
know how to do it.
That's what me and Gurjan used to do. It's like, get this application to work on this platform and deploy it to, 5,000 users, even if the thing is a piece of junk.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I explain it is operations staff have got the fight on two sides. They've got their own internal politics because they want better tooling, but they're also having to deal with the clients. IT folk are the same, especially the service desk and the engineers, because they're having to deal with problems for people where they, and I'm going to be honest, the majority of the time, them alone, have the foresight to see where new tooling, new processes, new change management comes into play. How in 3, 6 months, 12 months, it's going to hit the pile of stuff we don't touch anymore over there, but is still out there in the wild, in the estate, with risks sitting everywhere and the ability for people to go unkept. They deal with them. So why are these people not the ones that are sitting at the table dealing with some of these? If it was me, and I ran a large organization, I'd have my service desk chairing the committee for any AI usage within the organization. And that's not to knuckle down and tighten on, IT being, no, computer says no. Mm-hmm. It's just the way you think. I wouldn't have software developers there because software developers...
Neither would I.
No, you've got to remember I am one, so I can say this. Software developers think about the here and now to deliver and ship that sprint. These are the people that can foresee the faults taking place in months to come. And right now, it's the same procedure because if AI comes in, workflow, work process gets changed, a new agent gets banged in. What happens at the stage what happens to a user case once it's delivered? What's it called then? So again, I'll shamelessly plug the answer to this later on. However, when that user case gets to the point where it's active and it's live, it's just an asset, just like anything else within the tech environment of an organization. It's an asset that needs maintaining, that needs checking in on at times to say, is it still doing what I set out to do? Or the 64,000 Claude updates it's had in 3 weeks means it does something different now, which is exposing us to X, Y, Z. That's where IT folk live and breathe better than anyone else.
And it's true. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Once it's installed, the fun is just starting. Once you got your use case up and running, then the fun part begins.
You don't hear anyone talking about, okay, well, when it goes live, what happens then?
Yeah.
No one's talking about that. And that is where 80% of all governance, compliance, and assurance sits. It doesn't sit in the bit coming up to it going live. It sits in, once it's in the estate, how is it maintained? Because that's where the fines come from. They don't come from the project that got it there. They come from how it's used when it's out in the wild.
Yeah,
there you go. It's food for thought.
No, it is. It is. I like that one about any AI project you have having someone from the service desk involved. I'd say that's a bit of an eye opener, but I agree. It makes sense. But yeah,
every service desk that's been knocking around for a while, they're the people that go, there's projects thinking of doing this, bringing this software in. They don't know about the software yet, but they'll go away and they'll come back a day later and go, wouldn't pick that. Yeah. Why? Because of this. And this is no disrespect to service desk. Okay, I've cut my teeth through it as well. Just like other IT folk, we're lazy. We don't want to be hitting the arse down the line with something we have to deal with. We don't want to have to chew through them tickets when it goes wrong. So we foresee this. Yes, there is a balance between, the IT guys said no. So, that stigma is there too. So
it's no for a reason.
It's not for a reason most of the time.
Yeah.
I do know the folk that just say it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are we... that's interesting now, I have to say. It kind of, I don't know if you remember, Rob, or if you've seen this Pocket OS incident. And it kind of like, it goes back to what we were saying about, AI agents and no human in the loop. And, when you haven't got that IT perspective, that incidents like this happen. So just kind of, what were you aware of it, or kind of have you heard about it? Basically, it was like an AI agent deletes production database, and things went very wrong. And it wasn't using in-house put together stuff. It was using Cursor and Claude, and everything went wrong.
Is this the company that begins with an A and ends in an A?
No, that was a different one. This is a different one. This is one actually that's been, it's all in the public domain. It's they're called Pocket OS. So
right. You could list about 30 of them if you try hard in the last year now. Yeah. So they're not unique. They just couldn't recover all that stuff quick enough compared to most. These are some of the risks. So everything we talk about now in terms of governance, assurance, compliance, let's be honest, all that comes from regulators imposing businesses do things in the right way to protect their customers. Okay. Second to that, it's to protect their staff. It's never really to protect their business, which is a different layer now that most organizations won't even be thinking about for the next couple of years. They'll be thinking about, how do I abide to the regulation, this legislation, and the countries I operate in, and what I've got to do for each one. They won't be thinking about the fail-safes to protect their own IP, their own data, their own source of revenue greater than what they do right now. Well, I can't do that because that'll cause a problem in that software, that SaaS product. It means people won't be able to go online. I'll be in the paper. It'll go downhill. I'll lose subscription fees and that. But they won't be thinking, okay, well, where's some of this going? How am I sharing this IP without even knowing I'm sharing this IP? It's another layer that needs addressing. How you address it, I'm going to be honest, I don't know yet. I'm too busy trying to do the stuff, keep up to date with the other stuff that we know about. Never mind this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you've hinted at a couple of times. So I saw a LinkedIn post that you put out about this ARIA framework. Do you want to kind of explain what that is and how it helps businesses?
I shamelessly don't. So let's go for it. No, listen, part of what I've done for years, so I worked on GDPR. So my history with regulation just becomes more and more boring the more you talk to me about it. ISO, all the things, GDPR, all that unsexy stuff. It's amazing, actually, that I've got a good look at missus. So I'll keep that one carried. All that I've been doing for the last 5 months now is trying to build frameworks that people can stick to. More importantly, frameworks. I mean, the clue is in my company, the Human CTO. It's literally about building things and helping people understand with clarity, with transparency, how to use technology better for the better good as well. Part of what I do with AI is it dawned on me probably about 12 months ago how close and similar this is to GDPR. Now, the best way when it came to GDPR back in the day was creating a framework that, based upon what you wanted to do or what you should do, what order they were doing in. What's the priority to the business in terms of what it's doing? So having a framework that helps prioritize and scores the actions you want to undertake was what I did back then. What I've done since is turn that into the ability for ARIA, which stands for AI Readiness Impact Assurance, is to have a framework that applies scoring metrics to user cases. So straight away you can see, based upon my business objectives, this is the order I should be doing these use cases in. Because inside organizations now, it's a bum fight. Everyone wants their own bit of AI and everyone has a business case just as good as everyone else's business case because Claude wrote their business cases. We all do it.
Yeah.
But in short, they're really good. So it's hard. They're all parallel. Whereas this roots it back to what's that business purpose? Why does that business exist? This is
it gives you an order of prioritization, does it?
It does. So you go through every user case with your ideas. It automates some of the elements to it based upon regulations that it knows about. And you go through a range of questions. It has a set of pillars and it weights them all and scores them and it puts them in a user case register in the priority way of being able to deliver it. Now, the core framework was called ARIA. So we built a platform that does it. Not every organization can afford the 20, 40, 60,000 pound consultancy period of times where you come in and do this to them. So why not create a SaaS product based upon how many employees you've got in your organization? It's also the case of the way we built it is all functionality is there for everyone. So it's literally just tiered by your size of organization. And off the back of that creates the storage, the tokenization, everything that goes with it. But it's flat open, so you could be an SME of 1 or 2 people, micro, should we say, or you could be a group of 42,000 globally, and you get the same process because process never changes.
Okay. If we're talking about, if say someone's just listening to this and they're on the commute, they're on their way home and they've been, in their organization, they're looking at AI governance and they think it's too complicated. What's the one thing, what's the key message you want them to take from this podcast episode?
If you're an organization that's been around for the last 10, 15 years, this is nothing you've not done before. So don't forget about how you handled data protection, how you handled any ISOs that you've ever undertook, how you handled GDPR. And besides remembering that you probably crawled under a desk and had a cry at some point, just remember that they are just set processes and set ways of documenting how you do your thing. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do. It just asks you to justify that you are doing it in the way that you think and say you do. That's the easiest thing to remove that type of fear. Any takeaways for them to be able to start doing this as well is if you don't have any technology or platform or any tooling to do this, just go get yourself a spreadsheet and just start writing out every bit of AI tool you've got, whether that's a standalone app, whether it's a piece inside something else, just start filling out the columns to the right. What do you use it for? How often do you use it? Who uses it? What type of stuff do you pop into it? Just start building out a spreadsheet as a starter for 10.
Excellent. Rob, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
No,
thank you so much. And we will see you on the next episode.
Take care. Thank you.